Hey everyone, so I'm going to go over your review for your activity 1 through 3 quiz coming up. So let's get started. Number 1 says Roy is going skiing and needs to rent snow skis. The lodge charges a fee of $15 and then an additional charge of $25 per hour. Write an equation based on X, which is going to represent the number of hours the skis are rented. So we know that the lodge charges a $15 fee and then an additional charge of $25 per hour. We know that X is the number of hours, so this is saying 25X because it's $25 per hour. So I'm going to have 25X plus the 15 additional charge, and that will give me my equation to see how much money it is to rent the snow skis. Okay? Alrighty, so now we're going to practice solving absolute value equations. So remember, I first have to get the absolute value, this piece, by itself first. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I get the absolute value of 2x equals, what is that, -2? Use your calculator if you're unsure. And, anytime that we have an absolute value equal to a negative number, remember that means no solution, because we can't solve that. Remember, it has to be equal to a positive number to make the 2 branches, okay? All right, number 3. It looks like the absolute value is not by itself on one side of the equation, so I'm going to move this 11 over, or this -11, but before I do that, I got to simplify this guy because this is like, these are like terms. So I have x, minus 10 minus 11 equals, it gives me -1. 12 minus 13. Now I'm going to add 11 to both sides so then I can get the absolute values by itself. So absolute value of x minus 10 equals -1 plus 11 is 10. Now that I have the absolute value by itself equal to a positive number, I can make my 2 equations. So I get x minus 10 equals 10 and x minus 10 equals, remember you got to flip this sign, -10. Do not touch what's inside the absolute values. That's a no-no, okay? So now I'm going to solve each equation. So add 10 to both sides. X equals 20. Add 10 to both sides on this one. And x equals 0. Okay? And remember, you guys can plug these back into the equation for x to make sure it works if you would like to do that. Alrighty. Number 4. Here's my absolute values. Now remember, when you have a number out in front of the absolute value, you cannot distribute that. Whatever in the absolute values has to stay untouched. You can't touch it. All right? So instead of doing that, because this 2 is like attached though to the absolute values, let's move this 5 over first. So 2 absolute value of x minus 1 equals 6. And then this 2 is being multiplied, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 2. Whoops, so I get x minus 1, the absolute values of that, equals 3. Alrighty, and then because it's equal, the absolute value is equal to a positive numbers, I can make 2 equations. X minus 1 equals 3, and x minus 1 equals -3. Remember, that's the value you change. So let's solve these both. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. X equals 4. And then over here, I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and x equals -2. -3 plus 1. Yep. Okay. And again, you can type those back in for x in your calculator and check it. All right, over here, this absolute value is already set equal to a number, a positive number, so I can go ahead and make my 2 equations. Remember, that's going to be set equal to -3 on the second one. And add 7 to both sides. X equals 10. Add 7 to both sides over here. And x equals 4. Good. Now remember, if you have absolute values, I'm just going to write this off to the side, absolute values equal to 0, this means one solution. Okay, you would solve it like you would this, but you only get one solution, mainly because when you make your 2 your 2 little branches, we don't say positive 0 and negative 0. Okay, so that would be an example of one solution. If it's equal to a positive, you get two solutions. If it's equal to a negative number, you get no solution. All right, let's solve each absolute value inequality now. Okay, so these are inequalities because the inequality symbols, the ones above, had equal signs, so they were equations. And then we're going to graph them on the number line. So looking at this, we have an absolute value with a positive number, so I'm good to go to make my two equations. I get x minus 2 is greater than 3, and x minus 2 is less than negative 3. Remember, you have to flip the sign and change the value of the number, okay? So on the inequalities, just don't forget on the second equation to flip the sign. All right, let's go ahead and solve these. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. X is greater than 5. Over here, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. X is less than negative 1. Negative 3 plus 2. Yep. Okay. Now, once I do that, I'm going to plot those numbers on my number line. Negative 1 is smaller. 5 is bigger. And because there's no equal, like, little equal bar under there, these are going to be open circles. And then my shading, let's focus on the 5 first. X is greater than 5. So greater than, I shade to the right. X is less than negative 1. Here's negative 1. X is less than, left. The two L's. So I'm going to shade to the left. Okay? All right, number 7. I don't have the absolute value by itself yet. I got this 1 over here. So I got to move that to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. I get the absolute value of 2x plus 3 is greater than 5. Yep. And now that I have the absolute value by itself on one side of the inequality, I can make my two equations. 2x plus 3 is greater than 5. 2x plus 3 is less than negative 5. Remember, flip the sign and the value of the number. Okay, now go ahead and solve both these. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. 2x is greater than 2. And then divide both sides by 2. X is greater than 1. Over here, subtract 3 from both sides. 2x is less than negative 8. Type that in on your calculator if you're struggling with that. Divide both sides by 2. X is less than negative 4. Okay? Now, for any of you that thought, oh, was I supposed to flip the sign because I divide by a negative? No, you're not dividing by a negative. Even though the 8 is negative, the only time you would flip this sign is if the number you're dividing by is negative, okay? So keep the sign the same there. All right, let's see. Negative 4 is less than 1. So I write the negative 4 first. All right, and we have open circles because we don't have the little bar underneath. And then x is greater than 1. So greater than, I'm shading to the right. X is less than negative 4, so I'm going to shade to the left. Okay? All right, over here, my absolute value is not by itself yet. I need to add 3 to both sides. X plus 2 is less than or equal to 2. Yep, okay. And I got a positive number, so let's make our two equations. X plus 2 is less than or equal to 2, and x plus 2 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Remember to flip that and the sign. So let's go ahead and solve this. So minus 2 to both sides. X is less than or equal to 0. Subtract 2 from both sides. X is greater than or equal to negative 4. Oh, here, let me move this down. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's see. Negative 4 is smaller than 0. These are going to be closed circles because I do have the equal bar under there. So closed, closed. And then x is less than 0. So here's 0. X is less than it. Less than left. So shade to the left. X is greater than negative 4. So here's negative 4. It's greater than, so shade to the right. Okay? Alrighty, number 9. Let's see here. Got to get this negative 4 over to the other side, so I'm going to add 4 because I need to get this absolute value by itself on one side of the of the inequality. So I get less than 5, right? Yep. Make my two equations. 2x plus 7 is less than 5. 2x plus 7 is greater than negative 5. flip the sign, and the value of the number. Alrighty, let's solve this. Subtract 7 from both sides. 2x is less than negative 2. 5 minus 7, yep. Okay, divide both sides by 2. X is less than negative 1. Over here, subtract 7 from both sides. Whoa, that's a long negative sign I showed there. So 2x is greater than negative 12. 3, yep, okay. Divide both sides by 2. X is greater than negative 6. Okay, remember, use your calculator if you need to. Alrighty, let's see. Negative 6 is smaller than negative 1. We have open circles because there's no line under those. Let's find negative 1. X is less than negative 1, so less than left. X is greater than negative 6. Greater than's to the right, so my shading's in the middle. Remember, on the absolute value inequalities, your shading should either be both pointing out or in the middle, okay? Alrighty, let's flip to the back. All right, graph each system of inequalities and state an ordered pair that satisfies as a solution. All right, in order to graph these, we first have to put them in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so this is not in y equals mx plus b, so I need to subtract x from both sides so then I can get it to be. So I get y is less than negative x plus 3. So I'm going to graph that guy. And then over here, I need to subtract 2x from both sides. So I get negative y, bring that down, is greater than negative 2x plus 5. And I need the y to be positive, so I need to divide everything by negative 1. So y, remember, anytime you divide by a negative, you flip the sign, so that becomes as less than. Two negatives make a positive, so 2x, and positive divided by negative is a negative, so that's negative 5. So these are the two lines I'm going to graph. All right. Always graph the y-intercept first. So let's do this one. So 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the slope is negative 1, so down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. I want to get out my ruler to have a nice, pretty straight line. Oh, wait. Remember, on the system of linear inequalities, if there is no equal to sign under there, remember, this is a dashed line. So I'm going to go back and make sure I make this dashed as I draw it here. Okay, so there's my dashed line. Now, my shading, okay, remember you got to use a test point. So I'm going to use 0, 0, that point right there. So if I plug in a 0 for y, I get is less than, that makes that x is 0, so I just end up with 3. 0 is less than 3. True or false? True? Good. So because it's true, I'm going to shade on that 0.00. If it was false, you shade on the other side. Okay, now this guy over here, my y-intercept is negative 5. And my slope is 2, so I go up 2, right 1. And this will be a dashed line because there's no inequality, or equal sign under there, sorry. Okay. And then my test point, I'm going to choose 0, 0 again. So I get 0 is less than, that makes that term 0, negative 5. That is false. Just going to write enough. Okay. So, here's 0, 0. So I'm going to shade on the opposite side. So I'm going to shade over here. So my solutions are where my shadings intersect, which is in this region. Okay, so now you have to state an ordered pair that satisfies this as a solution. So I'm going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pick 4. I'm going to write this right here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, negative 5 works. There's many other, any coordinate point in this shaded region where the shadings intersect will work for that. Okay? All right, let's do another one. Okay. This is in y equals mx plus b. That is in y equals mx plus b. This is as well, except my b value here would just be 0 because there's no b term. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and graph these. So this is negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis. And then my slope is 1/2, so up 1, right 2. And this will be a dashed line because that inequality symbol. There's no equal line under it. And my test point of 0, 0. 0 is greater than, that's 0, so negative 4. That statement is true. So I'm going to shade on that side. Okay. Alrighty, for this equation, my y-intercept is 3. My slope is negative 1, so down 1, right 1. And this will be a solid line because there is that equal bar right there. So, draw a nice, pretty, solid line there. And if I use the test point 0, 0 again, 0 is less than or equal to, that's 0, so that's 3. 0 is less than 3. That statement's true. So I'm going to shade on, wait, sorry, here's 0, 0. This is the line we're looking at. So I'm going to shade on this side. So far my solutions are here, but I got one more. Okay, my y-intercept is 0, and then my slope is up 2, right 1. And that is a dashed line. And 0. Actually, I'm not going to use 0, 0 there because that's on the line. So I'm going to use, let's see here. Let's use negative 2, 0. Yeah. So my test point is going to be negative 2, 0. So the y value 0 is less than 2 times the x value is negative 2. So 0 is less than 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Is 0 less than negative 4? No, that's false. So this is where negative 2, 0 was. Because that statement's false, I have to shade on the other side of it. So I'm shading over here. And as you guys can see, all of the shaded regions are in this little piece right here, this little sliver. Okay? So a coordinate point that is in there that will satisfy as a solution would be 1, 0 or 1, negative 1, like anything that's in there, guys, okay? All right. Okay. All right, let's look at the solve by graphing next. Okay, solve by graphing, solving just a system of equations. So now we're solving systems of equations here. And we're going to do one graphing, substitution, and one elimination, one of each method, okay? So in order to graph, we need to be in y equals mx plus b form first. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides here. So I get 3y equals 2x plus 12. Divide everything by 3. Y equals 2/3 x plus 4. Let's go ahead and graph that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis. And my slope is up 2, right 3. Up 2, 1, 2, to the right 3. Or I can go down 2, left 3. Draw that line. Whoops. Okay. Now let's do this equation. So gotta subtract 2x again. So I get negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. And now I have to divide everything by a negative 3 because there's a minus sign right there. So y equals positive 2/3 x, and this becomes negative 2. So my y-intercept is negative 2. And my slope is up 2, right 3. Hey, these lines have the same slope. You guys see that? Remember, lines of the same slope are parallel, so they don't touch, which would mean no solution. Okay? Alrighty, let's solve one by substitution. Remember, for substitution, you have to get one variable by itself first. Looking at these, x is already by itself, so step 1 done. Next, you have to take what that equals and plug it into the other equation for that variable. So this tells me x equals that. So because this says x equals, I'm going to plug it in for x of the other equation. If it said y equals, then I plug it in for y. So here it says 5 times whatever x is, which is 2y minus 1. Then I'm just going to copy the rest of this down. Minus 7y equals 4. So the only thing that changed was x. And that equaled 2y minus 1. That's it. Okay? So now go ahead. This 5 is being multiplied to this, so I'm going to distribute. So I get 10y minus, minus 5 minus 7y equals 4. Remember, if you don't touch it, rewrite it. Okay, I've got a 10y and a 7y. That gives me 3y. And I have minus 5 equals 4. Now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. 3y, equals 9. And then divide both sides by 3. Y equals 3. Okay, now I got to go back and solve for x. So I'm going to take this value and plug it in to x, this is y equals, so I got to plug this in for y to solve for x. So I get x equals 2 times, instead of y, I'm going to write a 3, so that's what it equals, minus 1. X equals, that's 6 minus 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. So my answer is 5/3. Remember, you always write the x term first, then the y. Alrighty, elimination. So elimination, you're trying to eliminate a variable. Remember, you got to add these vertically with the like terms lined up. My x's are lined up, my y's are lined up, my numbers are lined up, so I'm good. Now, nothing cancels out, though, / eliminates, so that means I need to multiply one of the equations by a number. I'm going to multiply this equation by negative 2, so then my x's eliminate. So I'm going to rewrite these. And I'm going to multiply this equation by negative 2. So negative 2x plus 6y equals 2. Good. All right, so now 2x minus 2x is 0. Negative 5y plus 6y would be 1y equals 8 plus 2 is 10. Look, I already have y because there's just a 1 in front of there, so I'm done. That's it. All right, now I got to go solve for x. So I'm going to take this, and I can plug it into either equation for y to solve for x. I'm going to do the second one. Why not? So x minus 3 times, instead of a y, I'm going to write 10 equals negative 1. So x minus 30, right? Negative 3 times 10 equals negative 1. And I'm going to add 30 to both sides. So x equals 29. So my answer is 29, 10. X was 29, y was 10. Alrighty. Number 15. Perform the following operations. If it's not possible, write not possible. So these are your matrix, okay? This says A plus C. So A plus C here. Oh, remember, you take each entry and add them, but look what's gonna happen. We have a 3 by 3 matrix plus a 3 by 2 matrix. Remember, in order to add or subtract matrix, they have to have the same dimension. So this one is not possible. Okay. All right, let's look at letter B. A minus B. This is a 3 by 3. And because both of these are 3 by 3s, we can subtract them. So I'm going to set this up. So it's A minus B. So these numbers minus these numbers. So 5 minus 1 is 4. I think I need to make a bigger matrix. 5 minus 1 is 4. There we go. 2 minus 0 is 2. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. If you're not sure, type it in your calculator. 0 minus 9 is negative 9. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. 3 minus negative 2 is 5, because 2 negatives make a positive, right? 3 minus negative 2. See that? Okay. And then negative 5 minus negative 1 would be negative 4. Again, if you need to check it, negative 5 minus negative 1 is negative 4. Good. Then we have negative 4 minus 7, negative 11. And then you have 7 minus 0, which would just be 7. So some of those negatives can be tricky, so just be careful. You can check on your calculator if you need to. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just kind of checking this real quick to make sure I didn't make any silly mistakes. All right. Letter C, this says multiply matrix C by 2. This is scalar multiplication, so all I have to do is take this 2 and multiply all the entries of C by that. So I'm going to get 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Right, yep. All right, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. And that's it. Okay? All right, guys. This is everything that you need to know for your test. Let your teacher know if you have any questions, and I'll see you later. Bye.